Have you ever asked yourself, if one day you couldn't get up on your own, who would be there to help you? Or when the house falls completely silent, where would you turn for comfort? A rocking chair? Or something deeper inside your soul? People often say, growing old is like getting a second chance at youth. But are you truly living it as a gift or merely enduring it as a burden? In today's video, we're going on a journey. Not a journey of miles, but one of the heart. A journey each of us will eventually take. The journey of aging. We'll explore 10 powerful life lessons to help you age with independence, peace, and a sense of fulfillment. Even if your children are no longer close by, you'll hear simple yet moving stories from real people. People who face loneliness, loss, and the long, quiet hours inside four walls and found a way forward. If you're in your 50s, 60s, or even your 70s, if you ever looked in the mirror and wondered, what will the rest of my life look like? Then this video is for you. So take a seat, pour yourself a cup of tea, and let me share with you a story. A story about freedom, love, and courage at an age when many believe life is winding down. But in truth, the most meaningful chapters may still lie ahead. Back in the day, our parents and grandparents used to say, children are your savings for the future. And maybe that's why so many older adults hold on to a quiet belief that when they grow old, their children will be there to care for them, support them, and somehow repay all the years of sacrifice. But time moves on and the world changes. At 70, Mrs. Eleanor lives alone in a small house on the outskirts of Denver. She has 3 children, all successful, all loving, but each one lives hundreds of miles away. At first, she believed that all it would take was a phone call, and one of them would show up. But life, as it often is, turned out to be more complicated. One child was tied up with work, and 2 young kids of her own. Another was juggling college tuition payments. Eleanor understood. She didn't blame them, but it still hurt. One day, she slipped in the kitchen. It wasn't serious, just a scrape, but the feeling of lying there, helpless and alone, hit her hard. She later said, "That's when it hit me. My children have their own lives now, and I needed to start learning how to live mine again." This is something many people don't want to face, that no matter how much love there is, our children can't be our long-term care plan. Not because they don't care, but because they have their own families, their own jobs, their own health, finances, and pressures. The most dangerous thing? Expectations. When we place the weight of our old age entirely on someone else's shoulders, even our own kids, it's easy to feel abandoned, disappointed, even resentful. But the truth is, the love is still there. What's not always there is physical presence. Here's the small but powerful lesson. Growing old shouldn't be about reclaiming what you gave. It should be about freeing yourself from invisible burdens. When we stop expecting others to take care of us, we begin to learn how to care for ourselves. And in that moment, we reclaim our sense of control and peace in everyday life. But living with independence in old age isn't just about a mindset shift. It starts with protecting the one thing that makes independence possible, your health. Because without your health, all the freedom you dream about remains just that, a dream. So now, let's move into the next part of our journey. We'll look closely at what might just be the most valuable asset in life. People often say, when you have your health, you have everything. But when we're young, how many of us truly believe that? We spend most of our lives working hard, raising families, chasing success, all the while ignoring the quiet signals from our own bodies. A twinge in the lower back, a restless night of sleep, that breathless moment climbing a flight of stairs. All of it seems like something we can put off until later, but then later arrives, and we realize, without health, even freedom becomes a luxury. Take the story of Frank, age 72. He used to be an engineer, and he was great with money. By the time he retired, he had nearly $500,000 saved up, more than enough to live comfortably, travel, and eat out every week if he wanted. But there was one thing he hadn't planned for: diabetes and knee pain. Just 2 years into retirement, he was using a walker to get around. Doctor visits became frequent. He couldn't cook for himself or enjoy his afternoon strolls anymore, something that once brought him simple joy. At a seniors club meeting, Frank shared something that stayed with me. I've got the money, but I can't buy back strong legs or morning without medication. Health, once lost, is hard to regain, especially after 60. But here's the good news. It can still be preserved if we start today. You don't have to run marathons. You don't need to follow a strict diet. Just walk for 20 minutes each morning. Drink an extra glass of water. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Most importantly, listen to your body with respect. Because aging shouldn't be the price we pay for years of neglect. It should be the reward for the good habits we start right now. Health isn't just the absence of disease. It's the ability to do what you love every single day. And that, my friend, is true freedom. No bank account can buy that. And once we have our health, there's one more thing the heart will always long for: love and companionship. Because living long is one thing. Living happily is something else entirely. Let's move into our next chapter. Love at sunset. Why love is still a beautiful miracle, even after 60. There's something many people quietly accept as they grow older. That love is only for the young. That after 60, what we need is just good health and financial security, not a hand to hold or a shoulder to lean on. But that simply isn't true. And no one understands this more than someone who's lost love before. Because at any age, the human heart still longs for connection, for care, and for someone who truly understands. The story of Antonio, age 74, is a beautiful reminder of that. After losing his wife to cancer, Antonio spent nearly 20 years living quietly. He raised his children, tended his garden, and went to church faithfully. But he never opened his heart to anyone again. He once said, "I had a wonderful partner. I didn't need anyone else." That was until one Saturday afternoon at a senior dance class at the community center. He met Adelaide. She was a widow too, with a warm smile and eyes full of quiet kindness. Through slow dances and cups of tea after class, they discovered something in each other. Not a replacement for the past, but a second chance to be loved in a completely new way. No rush, no pressure, just two hearts that have been through pain, finding peace together. Love in later life isn't loud. It arrives like a sunset, gentle, yet warm enough to melt away years of loneliness. You don't need to go looking for love like you did in your 20s, but you can open your heart to a new friend, a kind neighbor, or someone who shares your passions at the local club or church. Companionship isn't just about romance. It's about knowing that at the end of the day, someone still cares enough to ask, "How was your day?" Love has no age, and no matter how many seasons you've seen come and go, your heart still has every right to feel, to hope, and to be cared for with kindness and respect. Don't let age or what others may think close the door to your heart. Happiness doesn't care how old you are. It just asks that you still believe human connection is worth waiting for. But to truly walk hand in hand with someone into the next chapter of life, you'll need more than just affection. You'll need something sturdier, financial independence, because love that depends on financial support isn't really freedom. Let's move into the next part of our journey. Money that works for you. How to make finances a companion, not a burden. As time goes on, we start to realize something important. Good health needs to be protected, and to do that, you need money. Aging brings rising costs. From medications and doctor visits to everyday needs like transportation or a healthy meal. Almost everything becomes a little more expensive. And if you're not prepared, retirement can feel like a race between joy and bills. Henry, age 68, offers us something to think about. He spent his life working as a maintenance technician at a local factory. His income was modest, but he was careful. He didn't overspend. Every month, he tucked away a little into a retirement fund and health insurance. By the time he retired, he didn't have enough to live lavishly, but he had enough to stay independent. Meanwhile, his best friend Walter had earned nearly twice as much. But Walter lived by the motto, "Live for today." He never saved, never planned. Then came the stroke. No solid health insurance. No emergency savings. And grown kids who were struggling to support their own families. Money isn't everything, but money gives you choices. The choice to see better doctors, live in safer housing, and say no to being dependent on others. And if you think it's too late to start, please don't. Even in your 60s or 70s, you can still take steps like reviewing your monthly expenses, learning about Social Security, Medicare, and local senior benefits, looking into part-time senior-friendly jobs or becoming a paid mentor, or simply downsizing, living smaller to live lighter. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it helps you protect it. Financial independence doesn't mean being rich. It means not needing anyone's permission to live life your way. Let the money you worked so hard to earn start working for you, not through spending, but by buying you what matters most. Freedom and dignity in your later years. But no matter how carefully you plan, no matter how well you save, there's one thing no one is ever truly prepared for: loss. When a life partner is gone, even the most stable ground can start to feel empty. In our next chapter, we'll talk about that, about the kind of pain no one wants to face, and how to keep living after the person you love is no longer here. Grief doesn't end you. How to start living again after love is gone. There's no pain quite like losing the person you built your life with, the one who lay beside you every night, who knew how you liked your coffee, which team you cheered for, and exactly where you kept the spare house key. And then, suddenly, they're gone. Not from anger, not from an argument, but from something no one could avoid: death. Callista, age 67, knows that pain all too well. Her husband, Robert, passed away from a heart attack, suddenly, while they were having dinner together. After the funeral, after the condolences faded, came the long, silent days. She shared that in those first nights, lying alone in a bed that now felt too big. She couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, her pillow soaked in tears, and thought, "I'll never laugh again." But then one day, she opened an old photo album, and instead of crying, she smiled. She smiled remembering how they used to sneak out for ice cream, like teenagers. She smiled thinking about how Robert always pretended to forget their anniversary, just to surprise her. In that moment, she knew she had to keep living, not just for herself, but for the part of Robert's life that was left unfinished. Losing a life partner isn't just losing a person. It's losing a part of yourself. But grief isn't something we're meant to get over in a day, a week, or even a month. Grief is a journey, and each of us walks it in our own time. What matters is giving yourself permission to feel, to remember, but not to stay stuck. You're not betraying your loved one if you laugh again, if you make new friends, or even if you love again. Life goes on, and you still deserve joy, even after your heart has been broken. You don't have to be strong all the time. Talk to someone. Cry if you need to. And remember this: the one you loved will want you to live. Not just survive, but truly live. And sometimes, living again doesn't mean finding someone new. It means learning to enjoy your own company. So in our next chapter, we'll explore your own company, how to love yourself and live fully, even when you're alone. There's a truth many people are afraid to face. Aging often comes with silence. The kids are grown, busy with careers. The grandkids are off at school or living far away. Those once full dinner tables, now just one plate, one chair, and somehow the house feels bigger. Not because it actually is, but because the laughter is missing. But here's something important to remember. Being alone isn't the same as being lonely. Ellen, now 70, knows what that emptiness feels like. Her husband passed away early. Her only son lives in another state. At first, she felt abandoned. No calls, no check-ins. It was like the world had moved on without her. But instead of waiting, she chose to come back to herself. She signed up for a painting class. She joined a local book club at the library. Each morning, she brewed her own coffee, played soft jazz, and wrote in her journal, as if chatting with a lifelong friend. Before long, she realized something powerful. When you learn to value your own presence, it can heal you more deeply than any crowd ever could. The difference between loneliness and solitude is in how we meet it. Loneliness makes us feel left behind, but solitude, when embraced, becomes a space where you can be fully yourself, without pretending, without performing. You can start small. Take a walk without your earbuds. Cook a new dish just for yourself. Write a letter to the you from 10 years ago, or 10 years ahead. Sometimes your best companion is you, not because you don't need others, but because you've learned how to feel full in your own quiet space. Being alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means you're giving yourself the space to listen, to heal, and to begin again at your own pace. But even as we learn to thrive on our own, we still need connection with the world around us. Because no matter our age, we all need a sense of community. In the next chapter, we'll explore just that, how friendship, handshakes, and a simple "how are you today" can reshape what it means to grow older. Build your tribe, why you still need a social circle, even after 70. Living with your adult children. It sounds simple, even comforting. More voices in the house, more laughter, shared meals around the dinner table. But over time, what seemed like the perfect solution can quietly turn into a challenge. Not because there's a lack of love, but because of differences in how we live, how we think, how we raise kids, and even how we show love. Amber, age 65, lived this firsthand. After her husband passed, she moved in with her daughter and son-in-law, hoping to help out, and honestly, to not feel so alone. At first, everything went smoothly. She drove her grandson to school, helped cook meals, and pitched in around the house. But slowly, she began to feel unheard. Her daughter shopped online often, spending money without discussion. Her grandson ran wild without correction. Her son-in-law believed in a more hands-off parenting style. Amber offered gentle suggestions, nothing harsh. But something shifted. She began to feel distant. Dinner conversations faded. The warmth she expected turned quiet. And one day, she realized she wasn't mom in her own home anymore. She felt like a guest. Living together isn't always wrong. But without clear boundaries and mutual respect, even love can grow tired. 3 generations under one roof, though traditional in many cultures, doesn't always work for every modern family. Sometimes, a little space is the best way to protect the bond from slowly unraveling. Even as a parent, you deserve your own space. And even as adult children, they deserve the freedom to build life in their own way. If you're living together, have an honest conversation early about money, responsibilities, and personal privacy. And if you choose to live apart, don't feel guilty. You're not walking away from family. You're choosing independence as a way to preserve the relationship. Still, living alone shouldn't mean living in isolation. You can always create a second kind of family, not one of blood, but of friendship and community. In our next chapter, we'll explore how to build lasting connections, a social support system that brings joy, purpose, and belonging into your later years. Build your tribe. Why social connection is the most powerful medicine after 60. Human beings weren't made to live alone. No matter how strong, independent, or self-sufficient you are, there will always be moments when you need someone to talk to, a laugh to share, or even just a warm handshake in the morning. In fact, studies consistently show older adults with strong social networks live longer, stay healthier, and are less likely to suffer from depression. Because friendship, even without blood ties, is one of the most powerful forms of emotional medicine we have. Take Daniel, age 72. After retirement, he felt completely lost. Each morning, he woke up without a sense of direction. Old friends had drifted apart. Family members were busy with their own lives. He used to think, at this age, who really needs new friends? But one day, by chance, he walked into a gardening class at the local community center. And there, he met people who had felt the exact same way. What started as small talk about soil and fertilizer grew into deep conversations about grief, joy in old age, and the hope that still lives on inside us. Now, every week, Daniel rides his bike to the center, not just a garden, but to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel a part of something. Whether you're introverted or outgoing, building your own tribe is essential. It doesn't need to be big, just meaningful. It could be a weekly card game on Wednesday afternoons, a gentle yoga class, a faith-based group, or simply a few neighbors you walk with each morning. You don't need a crowd, just the right people. The kind of people who can say, "You seem a little quiet today. Are you doing okay?" Don't let age close the door to connection, because sometimes a new friend can open a whole new chapter in your life. Build your tribe, not through shared blood, but through kindness, shared stories, and mutual care. And in today's world, where everything is increasingly connected by technology, isolation can be eased with just a single click, which brings us to our next chapter, where we'll explore technology is not your enemy, how tech can help you stay safe, connected, and independent after 60. For many older adults, technology can feel like a speeding train they missed long ago. New apps, unfamiliar buttons, confusing acronyms. It's no wonder so many feel like they've been left behind. But here's the truth. Technology isn't here to replace people. It's here to connect them. And more than anyone,